Hello, everyone. I'm so excited for tonight. Juliana here. For those of you who don't know me, thank you so much for tuning in. Anyone who's tuning in, I am honored that you'll hang out with us tonight. This is the Smart Self podcast / live stream. Podcast is released the following week, and this week I'm very, very excited to have my very special guest. I'm going to introduce in a second. He's very serious, and let's be honest, this is COVID lockdown in Toronto. We're in the same bubble. That's why we're not wearing masks. That's why we're in the same space. And yeah, I'm just really glad that I get to hang out with this fella and you guys tonight. So thank you so much for joining us. Again, my name is Juliana. This is the Smart Self Friday Night Hangout. And tonight I have as a guest my dad, Vincenzo. Say hello, Pa.
Nice to be here. It's my first time being TV so close, and I'm a little bit shy, so I don't really know what I'm going to say, but I guess you're going to hear something about me.
Yep.
Which I had got immigrating in Canada in 1970s. And I did work hard through my years, which I wasn't very happy to be here in Canada because my language. Anywhere I went, they looked at me funny, and I didn't know what they were talking about. And gradually I started to get used to it, which wasn't easy, but I did kind of get used to it 4 years later. And now I'm here with a wife and 4 kids. Unfortunately, we had lost one, my daughter, which was very hard to swallow. You know, it's no wish on anybody, but was hard. And we tried to get back to normal for the last 4 years. It's going to be 5 years. Lost my daughter, my oldest one. She was my right hand, and she was my bodyguard. Nobody could say anything about me. She would clobber them one way or another.
This is true.
But anyhow, and I've been working hard all of these years, and I'm proud of myself for what I've been doing. And I'm a hairstylist, by the way. And most of the women love me. That's why I never give up my job. And I'm still doing it, actually. But right now I'm off now. And I was off in last March for 3 months. This was the longest holiday I ever had. And I'm waiting now to be back to work some point in December, around December 21st.
We're hoping, right?
We're hoping, yes.
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna jump in because you gave us an awesome introduction, and then I want to break down some of these ideas a little bit. First of all, we are Italian, and it's a Friday night hangout, so it's not really a hangout if we're not doing something social. And as Italians, we're going to drink some homemade wine. And I'm thinking, since you brought up Marcella, my oldest sister, why don't we cheers to her? And just want to say cheers to Marcella and to everyone out there who's joining us tonight. Thank you for listening into the story. I hope you've got a drink handy, and let your guard down and just hang out. So, okay. I want to dig in a little bit. You talked about a few things, and honestly, I could probably talk to you every week for a year because you've got so many good stories, and
which they not come up at the same time. It's
yeah.
More you talking, more you're thinking about, and more things you discover. Which they're all funny stories, which I can't remember all in once. And I did get married about 40 years ago. And I'm still with my wife, which I not regret. But these days, actually, they kind of change every year. So I don't know if they're better off or not. But I'm happy to be married still to my wife and having my kids not always listen to me, but when they don't, they hear about.
This is true.
So from now on, I kind of gotta loosen up a bit because my kids are older now, and I only can control it to a certain age, and then they have their own idea or their own head to use. I hope they're using the right way, and yeah, we are here and we kill some time tonight. I hope you all listen, and I see you soon.
Okay, so I want to start at the beginning. You were not born in Canada. Tell us, where were you born?
I was born in south of Italy, Siderno Marina, provincia di Reggio Calabria, and it was lots of fun being in my hometown because I used to go to the sea every single day swimming. That's what I learned how to swim. And unfortunately, when I came to Canada, I see all of these lakes, which I don't. I've been swimming the lakes, but I don't like as much in the salt water. So I kind of had to get used to it, but I don't get enough swimming to keep it up. So I kind of dedicated myself more to my work, and I have a good time working with people, and the customers are nice, and I love the country, and I think this is my home now, Canada. So it's no use, saying I'm going back to Italy, which I did think at the very beginning. For the first 3 months, I was crying. I wanted to go back. But now I'm settled here. I have my family here, my business here. And I enjoy life. And I do some traveling. We've been to Cuba a few times. And we're supposed to go back this year, but never happened.
That's
because COVID. Yeah. So hopefully next year we'll be going back for holiday as a group, about 125 people or more.
Because when he parties, he parties. So he can't go with a couple of people. He's got to go with an entire entourage.
And we usually don't start the party until midnight. When the lights are down, when it's too many lights, it's kind of hard to show my moves. So I start my party at midnight. If I have the right crowd, otherwise I can sit at the table, have a glass of wine, chat with people. So what else can I say? Okay. I'll let Juliana.
I'll drive here. So, and all very important information, but I do want to ask, I want to have a little bit of a compare and contrast here. You were born in Italy. How long did you stay in Italy before coming to Canada? How old were you when you made the switch?
I was about 13, something like that.
13 when you came here?
Yeah, 13, wow. 14, something like that. Yeah. That's why I didn't like Canada. I left my close friends there, which I was playing with every single day. And then all of a sudden I come to Canada and I see all of these older people in me. And I had hardly any friends. And the only friends I had was my brothers, my sister, and I had some friends. We were meet on the weekends. We used to go to the billiard and play pool there for a couple hours. And then we're going back home and they start over again on Monday, which wasn't much fun. I didn't see anybody hardly. And I was living in the area. It's 401 and Yonge Street. So which hardly any Italian there, and I didn't know the language. Either when I went for coffee, I was shy. I didn't know what to ask for. And there were a time I kind of I feel like get a pizza, which they I said pizza with I meant with hot peppers. Now they call it pepperoni, they call it sausage or something like that.
Yes.
So when I was getting the pizza, I said, "Where is the peppers?" But I didn't know how to ask, so I just keep it quiet and eat it and whatever it was. But finally, I discovered what it was, and I said, "No way, I'm gonna get the pizza with the pepperoni." From now on, I know what it is, and I'm not gonna get that. So there was once I went to order pizza on College Street because they had the Napoletana. They call it Napoletana Pizzeria, which the name was okay, but the pizza didn't taste alike at all. So to make a long story short, I kind of stick to my homemade stuff, and until I discover better, which today my wife is making good pizza, so I'm not going to Napoletana pizza anymore. So here I am so many years later. I still at work, and I do my garden, and they go to the casino once in a while, which I love it, you know. And my wife doesn't like too much, but she'd rather be at home and read a book or something. But then every now and then she comes with me. We kind of, for the weekend, if there's a concert, metallic concert, she will come with me. We hang out for a day or two, and that's it. That's once every 3-4 months. And
but not
that's our life.
Yeah.
Now we've been close for a long time now. So we haven't been for 8 months, maybe a year.
Okay.
So
I'm going to cut you off again, and we're going to go step by step. Okay.
Yes.
So when I never knew, so I'm your daughter, and I didn't know that you came here at 13, 14, because the reason that surprises me is you told me that you used to go door to door in Italy, knock on people's door, ask them if they wanted a haircut, and you'd cut their hair under the tree, on the land. No,
actually, they were coming to me.
Okay.
Every Sunday, they were waiting for me, because in Italy, if you don't like to go to school, which I didn't like too much, you have to go to learn a trade. So at 10 years old, you could go and start learning a trade, which I picked barbering. And slowly, I was going to apprenticeship for 6 days a week for 1,000 years. They started me 1,000 years. After 6 months, they started giving me 1,000 years, which is about $1.50, to go to a soccer game, which that money was not enough for the ticket. My parents had to give me an extra 50 years because it was for the team. So I had to borrow 50 years to go to the movie or a soccer game. Anyway, gradually I started learning the trade, and then everybody was begging me to give them a haircut, because where I was, my suburb, I was at the suburb, which was no barbers there. You had to drive to the city, which nobody had a car, and they couldn't go there with a bike or walk. It was kind of far. So as soon as they find out I was doing hair, every Sunday, 12 o'clock, because I work half a day on Sunday, they were waiting for me. We have a huge vine in front of the house, and I was doing the haircut outside under there, which was lots of fun. I still remember those days, which they were fantastic.
That's really, really cool. So you worked as an apprentice 6 days a week, and then the 7th day, you still worked half a day. You did hair at home.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you had energy because you were 10, 12.
Well, I didn't love it to do the work so much because I wanted to play too. But once they get used to me, they were waiting for me to do the hair. And I like the cash too because that was the only money. My parents couldn't afford me. I was kind of expensive at that age already. So I had to work to get my own money somehow, which there were some points which I go and pick up olives on my part-time. And in my own farm, in my own land, and I used to pick up maybe a pound, 2 pounds olives. I used to sell them for a little money, not much. But there was nothing really there to do. There wasn't much going on, so we had to keep it busy somehow. And then at some point I did change barbershop, which was a higher class, and they were paying me a little bit more in what I was getting there. I was getting £1,000 a day, which was not bad, you know. And but still, after a year, 2 years, I went and get my visa to come to Canada. I had to go to Rome to get the visa.
Was that the first time you ever went to Rome?
Yeah.
And did you go alone? Who did you go with?
I went by myself, which I had a cousin there, and they were kind of begging me to stay there a couple of weeks, which my cousin was working in the Vatican. He was a secret detective for the Pope, and he was going to take me around and everything. But at that age, I didn't really want to be anywhere else but my hometown because I had all of my friends there. Anyway, I went there to get my visa, and I was still working. So 3 months later, I got the visa to come to Canada. And then I said, forget it. I'm not working anymore. I was doing my own clients at home, and I was going to the beach every single day because it wasn't too far. Maybe it was 2-3 kilometers away from where I was living. And that's it. That's the life I did for the last 3 months before I came to Canada. And my boss, he was calling me whenever he see me come and do it. Oh, hell with you! I'm going to Canada. I thought I come here. The money will come easy, but I find out the hard way because I had to start working, and at some point I was working from where I was living at 401 and Young. I was coming to Roller York and Bloor in the West End, which I had to take the bus, the subway, the streetcar, the bus again, then the streetcar. In those days, you had to wait maybe half an hour for a streetcar or a bus. And if you miss it, you freeze to death, until the next bus coming. So I did that for 3 months. I knew that I was going to move in the West End. So for 3 months I did, which I used to leave my house at 6 o'clock in the morning to get at the Roller York Bloor at the 9 o'clock. So I did it for 3 months, and I was glad when I moved because I didn't have to do that kind of the ride was a long ride. Yeah,
for sure. So there's something I think really interesting in that contrast of my education and your education. You knew right away that the classroom was not for you. You knew that you wanted to learn by doing. You preferred to do a trade. You were an apprentice. You had people teaching you. Do you think? I guess I'm just curious about your educational experience, because do you think you were too young when you left the classroom? Do you think you made the right decision? What do you think now looking back?
The reason I didn't like school because they didn't have all of the facilities they have today. The sports, an example, I like to play soccer a lot, and they didn't have anything like that. Like you go to school, it's like you're going to a military those days. if you didn't do your homework, when you get there, you get so many
Like lashes, like
with a piece of wood.
on the hand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Depends. If you didn't do your homework and you don't show up in class, you are gonna get the shots when you get to class, you know. And one day, I wanted to go to school, but I was scared because I missed one day. And I knew if I'm going to go to class, I'm going to get the shots. And then all of my friends would make fun of me. So at the recess, they were come out to play, all of their class. And I was still outside because I wanted to go to class, but I was scared, like I said. So when they come out to a recess to play, the teacher keep walking toward me, and he brainwashed me, like he not gonna do nothing to me, wants me to go to class and everything. Until I don't know why, but I kind of believed him. He was not gonna hate me or anything. When he got close enough to me, I had a foot on the well. Well,
like a water well?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
And when he got close enough, he had this big wooden stick in his hand. And he hit me so hard on my leg because I had shorts. But he wanted to make sure, maybe he didn't thought of hit me so hard, but he wants to make sure he didn't miss. So, but I kind of believed him. He was not going to do nothing to me. But he got me so badly, my leg was swollen and everything. So I kind of started to cry, and I started to pick up stones on the ground. I broke all of the windows in the school.
Yeah. You told me.
And the teacher keep rushing the kids inside. That's going. He was scared, like I was going to hurt the kids or him or whatever. But I didn't want to hurt the kids. I was so upset I am. Then I went home, and my mother see me like that, and I explained what happened.
Yeah.
You know, those Italian moms, when they get upset, fool around with them. So she goes to the school, and she make him black and blue. She told him so much. I think he was so embarrassed, but nothing really changed. I still got hit, but that's those days. It was no sports. You couldn't go swimming. You couldn't play tennis. You couldn't play soccer. Was nothing. Just the homework and that's it.
You also told me that when you were in class, if you got in trouble, they would make you kneel on dried chickpeas.
Chickpeas, yeah.
Which is like dried popcorn seeds. Because I know a lot of people don't necessarily have dried chickpeas around, but they're about that size, right? They're like little stones.
Yeah, round. Yeah, they're round and they hurt. I don't know how long you can stay, but you can't last too long. When you kneel on those chickpeas, it's killing.
Yeah, I believe it. So I'm curious, that day that he was trying to convince you that he wasn't going to hurt you, you thought originally you were going to get in trouble because you weren't there the day before.
Yes.
So what kind of bad behavior would lead to you having to kneel on the chickpeas? Like, was it speaking when you weren't spoken to? Like, what kinds of things could you do that would get you that
if you were disturbing the class or you didn't do your homework, different, you would get a different treatment if you missed class or you did something wrong in class or anything they didn't like, you get in trouble.
Yeah.
And you get the shots and like you were on the black book, they were, they had you on the bedside, let's put it that way, So every time you did something, they kind of pick on you. And those days was no phone. You couldn't call the police. You couldn't do nothing. You just have to take whatever was there and keep it quiet, And sometimes either if they would, if you would tell your parents, they wouldn't believe you because those days they would listen. The teacher was perfect. He was right. Whatever he said, you know, he was right. Maybe 90% was right. They were right, but 10% they weren't.
Yeah.
But still, the parents listen to the teacher, not to the kid, because you are a kid.
Yeah.
And now, what do you know? You don't know nothing. So that's how the days were, you know.
So something interesting. Have a drink of wine, because I'm here drinking. I'm going to be drunk by myself.
Salute.
Salute. Here with my father,
Cheers.
Juliana, Vincenzo. Really honored to have you guys here. I love, Dad, we've got a few comments here. You're working at 10, fascinating. I bet the homemade pizza is amazing. I love the story, Vince. I love olives. So really, really appreciate all the engagement, guys. We've got a professor here, Professor Bob. We're awesome. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you're still with us. I'm going to dive back in. So there's so many elements here. Hold on, I'm going to take another sip. Okay, so you're in the place that's home. I understood once that, I think one of maybe Nonlo told me that your town had one phone. Is that true?
That's right. And that was it's like it's like the bell, you know,
Like
the
a
central.
payphone?
Yeah.
Okay.
The guy who was like an operator, like he answers, gets all the phone calls, and then he spreads the word around through the week. Say, okay, your husband will phone at 1 o'clock on Sunday. Make sure you be here. Somebody else says, okay, your daughter will phone at 10 o'clock or different time all day. So Sunday was for the neighbors living closer by. Everybody was calling on the same phone. It was like a convenience store. Was a telephone there. And everybody were phone in and get all the messages, and he would spread them around through the week. Anyway, but was nice. Those days were good days to remember. It's not like now, you know, write anymore, you don't phone anymore, almost, but you just text and message here, message there, and it's a completely different lifestyle. Actually, I want to give some tips for a good pizza, whoever listens to it.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, if your wife
your wife, okay,
makes a pizza, or your husband make a pizza, you have to have them try. Do anchovies, green black olives, mushrooms, and roasted peppers, and tomato sauce. Do not go crazy with that mozzarella, because it doesn't look too good and it doesn't taste too good to me. But if you have some Parmesan cheese, you kind of spread it on top of it, and that's a pizza. And make sure you have a glass of wine with it.
It's not Italian pizza without a glass of wine.
That's right. You know, only if it's good. If it's not good, make sure you buy the good one.
Okay, I'm going to prove to you guys how much my dad knows about food in a minute, but I do. Hi, everyone. We're getting some awesome hellos, and a thank you for the tips on the pizza. So thank you for that. I want to talk to you about something that was very hard for me to understand. Like I was born in Canada, but I was raised very old-fashioned, like from Italy. And I'm grateful. I'm super grateful for that. I wouldn't change any of it. But one of the things that I really struggled with was the lessons that I learned at home about authority, about whether you trust teachers, whether you trust the police, whether you trust the government. I was always taught, mind your own business, you know, keep to your family, the people you can trust, because you can't trust anyone else. And I think in North America, I was constantly being taught in school, you know, trust the police, trust your teachers, trust authority. And so that was such a weird experience for me growing up, hearing one thing at home, hearing something different at school, and I understand why. But I'm wondering, from your perspective, you learned hard. You learned the hard way. not to trust certain people.
That's right.
So what do you think about that now?
Especially, you can't listen everything they say in school. Especially the teacher, they are good, but not all good. Some of them, they tell you the wrong things. You have to listen mostly what your parents tell you, because if they love you more than anybody else, and do not forget what your parents tell you when you go to class. Listen to the teacher, but they're not always right, because they do get a lot of breaks, and try to have their own group, and they're not all the same, but some of them don't pay attention to the kids.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I went through with my kids, you know. And I have to say too, I did give my kids a slap if they needed, up to a certain age, and which I wasn't scared, and maybe I won't do it now, but I did. I risked, but my kids were good, and they learn the hard way, but they come out good. I can't complain. So if you do have a kid, I don't say slap them, but make sure they listen. If they don't listen, if you don't want to slap them with their father, get to the mother. She get in trouble. So because usually women, you know, as you know, they get away with murder. So that is a tip for you, if you have a kids, you know. And then it depends. There is different parents. Some parents have kids, but they shouldn't have kids, because they drop them here, drop them there, which it's okay for the grandparents to look after, because I'm sure they take good care of it. But do not take advantage of your grandparents, you know, to 24 hours a day babysitting. I don't think it's the best thing, because they need a life too, you know. For emergency, I'm sure they're there, and they don't mind doing it. But for any kids who take advantage of their grandparents, I feel sorry for them.
So you have a very strong sense of responsibility. Anything that you do, you own it. And I've seen this both like big picture with your life, your business. I've also seen it when you decide to do something specific, like cook a meal. You go into the kitchen, you clean the entire thing down, you begin cooking. You have everything just worked out in a very specific way. You can tell, if I walk in and nobody was there, I could tell it was you that was cooking. You have a strong sense of responsibility and a strong sense of, when you do something, you put your stamp on it. And on that note, I'm going to pull out something, talking about food earlier. I'm going to pull out a little profile on my daddy.
I did turn out to be a good chef, which I never thought I was going to be. And the way you know how you become a good chef, well, personal for myself, I'm not doing it for business, but for my family, for my friends. Anytime I do cook, all of my guests, they go for second. When they go for second, you know they like the food. And when my wife cooks, I kind of, I eat, and she keep asking me sometime, you know, why don't you want it anymore? Why don't you eat? Yeah, I eat what I want. I don't want it anymore. I said, that's when I wasn't too happy with the food, you know. But so at one point I said,
he pulls no punches.
Listen, I said, when I go for a second, or I eat a lot, means I like, because she wanted to be complimented. But I couldn't compliment her if I wasn't too happy with the dinner, which she had a hard time to get adapted to my kind of food, because she was very young when we got married. She was only 16. And she kind of, at the beginning, well, in the first year we were married, anywhere we go, they open the doors, because it was just two of us, you know. You still on your honeymoon a year later. But then when we started having kids, they kind of now it's not 2, it's 3, and then it's 4, it's 5. Then gradually, when they see us, they say we're going out, we're not home. So we had to learn how to manage the house ourselves. The food, the cooking, the shopping, which was a little hard at the beginning, but we got used to it slowly. And a matter of fact, when we were going shopping with my wife, she was not experienced, so 16, 17, 18, she was walking, and everything she sees, she pick up in the car to put it in there. So I was going behind, and I take stuff out, because by the time I get to the cash register, it would have been $1,000 shopping, only for 2 people. So then we get home, she goes, I'm sure I got that. Well, maybe you forgot. I said, it's not here. Maybe you didn't get it. No, I'm sure I got it. Anyhow, it was for a few times. It happens until she discovered. Actually, I had to tell her what I was doing. But I said, stuff you don't need, why you buying? We go next week and buy. And eventually we kind of back and forth. We learn how to shopping. We learn how to cook. And now I do most of the cook. And especially when we are just ourselves. When it's a lot of people, my wife will cook, because she's got more time. I have to do the gardening too, so I can't be everywhere.
And on that note, I'm going to interrupt you again. So there's this awesome Canadian-Italian magazine called Panorama, and essentially it's for Italians living in Canada. And my parents and their garden, let's see here if I can put it there, was featured. I think this was last year or the year before. And I just have to call out, like, those are all organic, those tomatoes that they're holding up. And the garden, my parents' garden at their home vegetable garden, is about, would you say it's like 1/8 of an acre?
It's it's a lot. The garden is my garden is 50 by 100.
There we go, 50 by 100.
And I do have everything in there. Still today, I have a tomato, which nobody had from Ontario.
So, sorry, December 4th, you still have tomatoes growing, you're saying?
Yes. I'm going to have until Christmas.
Okay.
So I make a sauce still with fresh tomato, which you can't compare with the one you buy at the store. So tomato salad. I have eggplants still, peppers, which I brought them inside because now it's too cold. But it's nothing like homemade in the garden, vegetable made in the garden. And I have everything in there. I have broccoli, zucchini, peppers, onions, beans, you name it, and I have it.
Garlic, cucumber, watermelon, cantaloupe.
Yeah, I have
cabbage.
I have a little bit of everything.
Brussels sprouts. What else do you have in there? You've got, it's insane.
Well, I have a bottle of wine with me all the time.
Just in his back pocket.
To keep the day going, Because in the summer, I don't really go inside. I spend outside. I have a couple of beers and working away. Once I finish working, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, usually I have a lunch, good lunch. And then I get on the bus, I go to Forrestview Casino just to kill some time. I have some friends which we meet on the bus, and we travel back and forth, which is fun.
I'm going to share a few comments if you don't mind. So we've got one here from Rustic Muskoka Cottage. Are you ever going to do a live sauce demonstration for that pizza?
Live sauce?
So, to make your sauce live so that people can learn how you do it.
Maybe someday
Maybe.
I might do it for you.
We might.
Depends on the price, because I don't want to give my secrets away, So
we also have nice. That pizza recipe sounds delicious. The wine with it is a must. Yes, absolutely. And this is my new friend, Professor Titch from the US. Actually, we're talking to him in a couple of weeks. We've got no words. I'm beyond impressed from Selena. And we've got From Jen in Calgary, the garden is as big as my lot for my house, front and backyard. And you can imagine how much work it takes to till this soil, literally just to turn the soil to plant in spring. That alone is more work than most people do in a summer. And then you add on top of that all of the planting, de-weeding on a constant basis, harvesting. It really is a challenge, and it's a beautiful thing to see, I have to admit.
Yeah, the garden takes a lot of time. If you like organic food, you have to spend at least a couple hours a day. Depends on the weather too. If it rains, if it doesn't rain, at certain time you need to water the plants. Certain time you don't have to, and you have to make sure you pull all of the bad grass out, doesn't take over, and that's how the stuff will grow. Which a lot of people don't like to do it because it's a lot of work. Especially, I have a son-in-law. He's allergic to the garden. So
are you talking about my husband?
That's it. So he only got to pick the stuff, and the wife, my daughter, she does the garden.
I do love my vegetable garden. Yes.
Yeah, but you should give Mike the job. And
you know what's funny though? Mike does all of the flower garden. And he's done a beautiful job. The entire perimeter.
What is he a woman?
That's what he likes. He likes the flowers. I kill flowers. I can grow vegetables. So we switched roles in your.
Okay, then tell him to turn the soil for you.
So this year my father did come. I don't know. I was going to say he had to turn the soil for me, and that's not true. I asked him if he would till the soil for me. My garden is much smaller. It was still a lot of work, and watching you do it compared to watching Mike do it, because I can't go that deep. I can try I can put all my weight, I can jump on the shovel. I can't get deep enough into the ground. Watching you do it, watching Mike do it, you at least went an extra 6 inches deeper, at least.
Well, you have to.
I didn't know
at
that.
the beginning, because you can't just do the first 4 inches and expect stuff to grow. Doesn't grow.
Yeah.
And every year you have to kind of put some kind of not chemical, but
fertilizer.
You can put some fertilizer, but not overdo it. You know, the best fertilizer is the stuff, the leftover from the kitchen. You can store it in one spot and then bury it underground. That's the best one.
Yeah.
But I know it's everything takes time and work, which especially in the winter, you don't want to go outside and store this stuff here. But if you can do that, you're gonna see the difference.
Yeah, if you can do it and if you love it, then it really does pay off. And I think that's important. Like your parents were farmers, right?
Yes, for ourselves actually. Yeah, we had our own olive plants. We have the vineyard, which we were making our own grapes for the wine. Because my father came to Canada long before me. He was in Thunder Bay, working for 25 cents an hour those days. You know,
and that was in the 50s, is that right?
Yeah, in the 50s. Yeah, and you were lucky if you find a job then, because it wasn't much work, you know?
Yeah. So imagine coming from the south of Italy. This is the place where everyone vacations in Italy because of the sun and the beaches, and going to Thunder Bay. This is pretty far north in Ontario. And obviously, you know, I'm not going to compare it with people who are like in the Northwest Territories, but those folks, a lot of them are from there. This is somebody who came from a warm climate. Talk about a culture shock. And he did it. And how long was he here alone?
He was here for 7 years until he got hurt her back. He hurt his back, and they wanted to do surgery on him. And he didn't want to have surgery, and I blame him, because it was in the maybe the 60s, you know, and he didn't trust the hospital then those days. Was hard. He didn't have anybody here, so that's when he decided to come back to Italy. And then one by one the kids came to Canada, and he stayed back there. We had our own land that he was working in, And once all the kids came here, my mom, she was crying. What are we gonna do here? Let's go to Canada. Our kids are there. And then they decided they sold everything, and they kind of came catch up with the kids. And that was the life story of our family. It's and the kids are here, and my parents are gone now. So
can I ask, when you came here, you came by boat or plane?
Plane.
You came by plane. Did you ever travel across the ocean there on boat?
No, with a boat.
No. Okay. Were you terrified taking the plane for the first time? Or
not really. Not really. I think I'm more scared now. I was then, to tell you the truth, because I took one plane from south of Italy to Rome. That was, I think, I don't know if it was one motor or whatever, but to make awful noise. I thought we were gonna fall in the water or something. And but we got to Rome, and then we got a bigger plane to come to Canada. So it was okay. But yeah, I'm more scared now in the flying. I was then for some reason.
Well, I think sometimes it's common for when you're young to feel invincible. Like, you went to Rome to get your visa when you were 12, 13 by yourself.
Yeah. With well, they put me in the train, and I was to just meet my cousin there, and then he kind of drive me around.
He took control.
Yeah. So the was all arranged by my parents. But
still, nowadays you would never send a 10-year-old or 12-year-old.
No.
Well, I'm sure some people do when they need to, right? Like out of necessity.
No.
Yeah, it's not very common.
But now there's one of the parents will drive or fly with them or whatever, But those days, kind of, either if my mother wants to go with me, she couldn't go. We couldn't afford to go,
Yes.
So, but they say, okay, they put me on the train in my hometown and get off in Rome. Yeah.
See you later.
So
don't get off for another 8 hours.
12 hours.
More, 12 hours. Yeah.
12 hours of train. And those trains, they make lots of noise. Forget about
no sleep.
And but I manage okay. It's things to remember. Which a lot of people won't do today because they don't have to do it. But if things were the way they were before, you had no choice. You would have to do it.
And the reason you guys left Italy, like, I know that you were born, sometime after the war. I know things were really tough. If you did your dad, my nonno, did he leave because he had to, because there just wasn't way any way to survive?
Those days it wasn't no work back home, and they kind of a lot of people from south of Italy or from north. A lot of them came to Canada, Germany, France, Spain. They traveled. They went for work.
Yeah.
Because there was no work, especially in the south. So that's the reason, mainly the reason why a lot of people got to immigrate to Brazil, Argentina, lots of people, Italy, Argentina, and then they open up a business and start a family, and there is Italian everywhere now,
Yes.
And
we spread out and multiply.
Yeah. So it's unfortunately that's how it was those days. You had no choice.
I'm curious about business. So you came here very young, 13, 14. You already had a decent amount of experience. You already had a few years of experience in your trade of barbering. And then you came here, and was that always the plan? I need to get licensed in Canada for hairdressing.
Well, I started to work with my oldest brother. He had a shop, and and started doing barbering. I started apprenticeship hairdressing, which was a little easier because I was with my brother, but for the language wasn't that easy, But slowly, I kind of started learning the language, which I don't. I think my language was better then it is now because gradually I started get used to the language. I used to go dances, and I used to go out more. I used to go to school dance, meet people. And I got used to it, which then I started to like.
And I want to share a picture of my dad in his heyday. Gorgeous young man. This is him. It's a picture from his business website. That's him surrounded by women whose hair he did. He's in the center. And you were like the extra Beatle, eh? That style you had.
That's right. That's right. I was well. They make me to not be shy anymore. I kind of approach them if I really like a girl. I will approach them. I have them become my model at the beginning. Then gradually I take them out. But that was the life. It's the girls make me like Canada, unfortunately, which I didn't mind.
Yeah.
But I was single then. I was like a free bird.
Yes.
So I was everywhere. I was doing it here until 10, 11 o'clock in the night, which my parents were kind of worried. But I liked it. I still love the job anyway. So keep doing it for a few more years anyway.
For sure. Okay, we're going to talk more about that still. I'm not done asking you business questions, but we have another comment. And this name you're going to recognize, Ryan. He said, you are certainly Mr. Popular, Papa Tricolo. I will cherish the time I got to make your homemade sausages and learn from the master. Can't wait to do that again post-pandemic.
Yeah, going to be a while before that's possible.
Yes, but definitely excited to do that again. And that is my favorite food. Anybody who doesn't know me, it's a joke that I like. If I could only eat one thing in the world, it would be homemade, spicy, cured Italian sausage. And
it's nothing better in the homemade sausage.
Nothing. There's
especially
really
with spice in the sausage and half a bottle of wine. That will make the taste super. You never had something like that before.
And going to school, I remember, like we very rarely stayed for lunch at school. My parents would pick us up and bring us home and cook something, feed us. But the odd times where we were sent to school, it was not uncommon that, I'd go into my lunch bag and there would be a sausage, like uncut, maybe a cucumber. And if it was a really fancy day, I might even have a salt shaker. So I would literally sit there with my sausage, my cucumber, my salt shaker, and bite my lunch away, while others were having peanut butter and jelly. It really was.
Or a chocolate.
Or chocolate. But yeah, like we really did grow up with our culture intact, and it was a really special experience making wine, making sausage, making sauce. Harvesting from the backyard. Some of my best memories are sitting under the tree, all of the women, and including my grandmother, and she would just sink into her chair. But that woman, you look at her and you almost think she's probably producing the least in this group. But that woman was a machine. And then the guys would be harvesting, pulling everything out of the soil, bringing us big piles, and it was some of the best memories of my life. And this is stuff you can't manufacture. There's no television show that can give you that experience. There's no television show that can replicate the feeling of taking the beans out of a bean pod. I don't know if I'm getting all the language right in English, but getting all the actual beans, the actual
out of
the shell.
Yeah.
And when the shell is hard and you're getting little tiny micro cuts into your fingers. And at the end of the day, you worked hard, and there's just nothing like that. I don't know. It's an incredible experience.
Great memories.
Great memories.
To tell your kids, to my grandchildren.
Yes.
And they were once I kind of my kids play soccer, and I after the game, I invite all of the team to my house to have some ginger ale or Coke or whatever. So I got all of the kids at my house, and I started to offer them ginger ale. Those days, we would order the ginger ale. We would have it delivered to the house in the big glass bottle of 750 ml, and I filled them up with the white wine, and so
That's not a good story.
this time particular, we pour wine and ginger ale. Soon it's supposed to be ginger ale, but it was wine to the kids, and they were telling each other, this ginger ale tastes funny. No, it's good ginger ale. It's Italian ginger ale.
Yeah.
So finally, we discovered it was white wine I was serving to the kids, 6, 7, 8 years old.
Soccer party.
So all of a sudden, we get all those glasses. Give those glasses. We took all the glasses and the bottle of wine away, and we give them the real ginger ale.
Yeah.
So
we had to sober everyone up.
Was a good thing. Nobody really figured out. We were giving them wine, otherwise they would get in trouble.
I remember that moment, and the thing that gave it away was there was one boy who said, "This tastes like my father's beer," and I thought, okay, wait a second. It's funny tasting ginger ale because we used to get our ginger ale delivered, and it was an Italian company. So fine, it's not something you got at the store, maybe that. But when someone said, "This tastes like my daddy's beer," we cleared that table at lightning speed. And all those bottles are gone. They're all open and gone.
I know. It was amazing, though, but we had a big laugh about that,
And everyone was fine. Luckily, no damage done, thank God.
And at some point, I told their parents, to some parents, not all of the parents, what happened, and they were still laughing. Well, you should give it to us. And, well, I said, I have some for you too. Don't worry. But it was something you always gonna remember,
Sure.
And we had a good time with the kids, my kids, and the team. We always used to get together after the game. We have a drink somewhere, one of the kids' house or whatever.
Yeah,
it was lots of fun.
Whether it was a glass of wine or hot peperonata from the garden. You educated some of those parents on your Italian ways. There's no doubt.
That's right. Actually, one this night I have a cousin of mine. She kind of waiting for me to make this. She call it peperonata crew, because she like this peperonata I make it with hot peppers, tomato, onions, eggplants. And
I think I have that picture.
All special stuff, and of course they get too carried away with the wine because it's very spicy, and they get too carried away. So I kind of have to put a stop to it because otherwise it would have too much to drink, and then I have to end up drive them home, which I'm in no condition myself.
I'm gonna call out our lovely cousin Maria. We've got a couple of pictures here of the Peperonata crew, at least the founding members, and yeah, it's good stuff. I have to say, like literally, I've seen grown men at the table crying and continuing to eat. It really is delicious and a fun experience.
So she can't wait for me to call her to come over. But I have to wait when school is over, when it's nice weather, and she doesn't have to right now. I know she don't go to school right now, but still, you can't have too many visitors.
No.
Because if they smell that peperonata, special peperonata I make, the people just gonna come in. So I kind of take my time, and eventually I will do it.
We've got a couple more questions. I'm going to jump a little bit because there's a question in here, and I want to get to that next. But there's an awesome quote here or comment here from Mr. Titch. Cooking with our fathers is such a special thing, and I agree, such great memories. I remember those moments with my dad too. Great stories, Vincenzo. Thank you for sharing those, Dad. And then I also want to say, there's a question here. Dating is now done online. Is that unusual for you? And what advice do you have for men these days? A lot of men don't approach women anymore. I think there's so much actually buried into that, because it can be tricky nowadays. You don't want to approach somebody who's not interested. But it was a really different world in your experience. Do you have any advice or comments about what it's like?
You know, I would never go out with a woman who asks me out, first of all. Second, I will only ask a woman out when I like the way she looks, and she's kind of mostly young, and I know I wouldn't mind go out with that kind of person. But anybody who begs me to go out or hint to go out with me, she gets nowhere, because I'm not that type of guy. I wouldn't go for that girl. So
if you found a woman on a dating app, she wouldn't
I want to see them in person and talk to them, and then I decide. I used to go to school dance or dance in the weekends, and, or weddings or whatever. I wouldn't ask anybody to dance unless I like the way they look and the way I feel comfortable with. See, I didn't. That's the kind of person I was, you know.
And I think the word "look" is a little bit oversimplified here, because when you say you like the way they look, do you just mean that you find them attractive, or do you mean also that you like the way they're interacting with others? You like to see how they are with their family and stuff like that?
Well, it's just mainly the way they look. Then once I talk to them, I don't feel comfortable. I go to the next one.
You're quite the womanizer.
When I was single, it was kind of easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Single and young.
That's right.
I one thing that I've noticed as I age, that when I was in high school, I didn't think everybody was attractive. But now that I look at young people, every young person is beautiful. I don't really see young people that aren't beautiful. Youth is just such a aesthetically pleasing thing to behold. But we are picky when we're young.
But they were dressed a little bit. I like the way they used to dress before. Now they kind of, a lot of people have tattoos, which I don't like. Like if I see somebody with a tattoo, no way I would ask her to dance or to go out or anything like. It's not my cup of tea, you know. It's everybody see a difference. It doesn't mean that she's not a nice person, but not for me. It turned me off. Let's say, you know. So it's things change, you know, over the years. Like right now, a girl would ask you out. Those days they didn't, you know. You were waiting, hoping that somebody asked you to dance or somebody to go out or whatever. But now, if a girl might just approach you and she want to go out with you, either if you're married, they're not shy anymore, which doesn't appeal to me, but appeal to some people anyway.
I think in some ways that is true. Like people can be a lot bolder, and I know especially in business, because if I'm out and about and I'm not with people, it's usually for business, right? Like I'll be traveling for work or something like that. Otherwise, I'm going to be with my husband or my friends or a bunch of my girlfriends or something. But it's not uncommon. It's really not uncommon to have someone hit on you and you say, sorry, I'm married. And the response is, I don't mind, right? So that is not your world. You would not be interested in that.
No, I keep going to, you know, either there were some nights I went to dance. I didn't have one to dance. I guess it was one person I would like to dance with. So I just haven't dreamed talk with my friends. So that's it.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, it's midnight. You're going home.
Mm-hmm.
I was fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
But some people, they were completely different, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but today it's no more dancing. There is no dancing clubs now. There are hardly any.
Yeah.
And most people now, they go to dance. They go there to get drunk. No offense to anybody, but
as we drink our wine.
yeah, it's I'm feel bad to say, but I don't think a lot of younger generation know how to have fun anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They just out there maybe cause problem or
Mm-hmm.
just drinking away. They don't know when to stop, and it's not the best way to think, you know.
Mm-hmm. I do think there's some truth to that. Like, I'm not going to pretend to know what another generation feels and experiences because I'm not in their world. But there are great people, of course. This is obvious. There are great people in every generation. But one thing that I do think is there was a time where if you didn't have something to do, you could invent something to do. Whereas now we may have, I think we're losing that if we haven't already lost it. My toy that I always think about growing up was your dad would buy a bag of hazelnuts and he would put them into a little Lipton soup box once it was emptied. And I would play with them for a month. And I would do like bowling or sometimes we played, this was dangerous. We played forts and we would launch them at each other and but we did a lot of things with a little bag of hazelnuts, and every month he would buy a new bag for me and we would eat the ones that we had kept. But I can tell you, like you can see in the background, I've got an Xbox, another generation of an Xbox, another generation upstairs. I've got an NES. I've got a Stadia on my desk. There is so much when you're bored as a child today. I think it's very common to just say, okay, well, what can I do right now? As opposed to what's around me that I can do something creative with. It's like the creativity is all done for you in a lot of ways.
But now it's completely different. Either in the family, it's there is no reunion in the family anymore, like before. You know, they used to get together on weekends and you watch a soccer game or a hockey game or whatever, and we all there together.
Yeah.
Now everybody have their own room, their own phone, their own tablet. They're all busy. You're there, you have a dinner, the family, and you don't even know you're there. Next thing you know, everything's quiet. You know, everybody's on that phone, you know, and they play their own games or text each other or to somebody else. It's no family reunion anymore, like in the olden days, you know. So I don't know. I think things should. Well, I think right now it's kind of changing a bit because of this COVID. But otherwise, it's we're losing that which we used to have. It used to be a lot of fun, you know. But now I hope we'll come back with this COVID and that we get together more often.
Yeah.
For every family. Yeah.
So you have this very interesting story, and honestly, I could dig in for a very long time, and I'll probably want to do this again if you're open to it. But here you are, a guy that was out of school, you know, by 10 years old, learned a trade, came to Canada around 13, 14, a completely new place, new language. You weren't put into an academic environment where someone was there, you know, saying, "Oh, are you comfortable? Do you have friends?" You had to figure it out, and you succeeded. You have a beautiful family, if I may say so myself. You've had 4 daughters, a lovely wife. You own a business. You launched that business when you were 18?
From scratch, yeah. When I was 18, yeah, I was. I kind of. It's a long story. the way I started, it's one of the girls we were going out with. She lent me some money. Previously to this, actually, when I opened a business, the beauty supplier company, which they do furniture, they co-signed for me at the bank because they knew that I was a hard worker and I knew what I was doing. So they kind of co-signed for me at TD Bank, and that's how I started my business. And I did pay my shop off, and then I was kind of renting those days $350 a month rent, and that was all inclusive, you know,
The utilities.
except the hydro.
Okay.
And next I know, they were selling the building, which I was paying rent to. And then I said, why would I, you know, why don't I buy? I said, why should I pay rent to them? I said. So I kind of, I went to this girl we were going out in a group with friends. She was nothing serious. And she lent me $8,000.
Wow.
So another friend of mine, she had some extra money. She lent me another $8,000. Wow. And I give us a down payment to the property, which I had the shop in. That's how I buy my building, the building I have still. And gradually I started to pay the mortgage slowly. And now I do have it. I'm glad that I paid for, and I'm glad for what I did all this time. And if I would have done something else, I don't know if I would have been in the same situation now, you know?
Yeah.
It takes a lot of work, you know, and a lot of time, which a lot of people no one put time into it now. So I'm happy I did, and I'm happy in what I succeed to have, which with no help from anybody.
Well, you did get some money from friends, which was special, right? Because that wasn't anybody who owed you anything. They just did it because they believed in you.
But I was paying interest.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So, but yeah, you didn't, they didn't have to help me out, but they kind of fully trust me. I was a good worker, and I would pay them back, which I did.
Yeah.
Actually, my last one, one of them, after I got married, I paid one at the beginning of my marriage. So now I deal with the bank. It's a little more scary, but more they trust you, you trust them. They're not really close to the door on you, but they're not easy on you either. But I'm glad I did what I did and what I'm doing. And I think either if I had gone to school today, and I wouldn't have what I have. Yeah. So I'm very happy.
So let's talk about that, because I wouldn't look at your life and say that you lived a very lavish life. I wouldn't say, like, you didn't travel all the time. You didn't always have like the newest, fanciest car, but you did have some new things, and you did have nice cars, and you bought land, and you rebuilt a house, and like custom built a house, and you own the building your business is currently in. We're not talking about just surviving. You have succeeded, but I
did pretty good.
Yeah.
I see people with a lot of education, and they have a business in the big malls, and they didn't do what I did, or not even a quarter of what I did.
So what do you attribute that to? Because it's not just cash flow. Like if you're in a mall, you have a lot of cash coming in and a lot of cash going out. Is
right.
it about cash flow? Is it about saving and spending very little?
Well, you have to know what you can spend, how much you can spend, and when to spend. And you have to have some money to back you up for rainy days. Like if you're not busy for 6 months, or you can pay your mortgage for 6 months, what are you going to do? So you better have that extra money on the side so you can catch up with you. You can cover, which it's either right now I'm just spending some money and I have too much money coming in because
COVID, there's a lockdown for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Plus, I have one of my properties not rented right now, so I kind of remodeling. I spend some money, but then I have as much money coming in as I was before.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine. I'm doing okay. You know, it's not a problem. But I know a lot of people, they spend a big money in the malls, and then now they got nothing because they're the owner tell you, the landlord tell you what to do, what not to do, when, and how to do it. If you not do it, automatically you out of there. So you're not, you never your own boss there.
So what I'm hearing from you, if I can kind of summarize it, is you want to be conservative with your money so that you're never at the last dollar. You always want to make sure you have cushion.
That's right. Yeah.
And I also am hearing that independence is very important to you, knowing that you can make your own decisions.
Well, at some point you have to, and if I can't make a lot of decision now, I never will. You know, and you better make a good decision because otherwise it's gonna be very costly.
Yeah.
And a headache. So before you do anything, you better do your homework on your own or with somebody else. Doesn't mean you have to listen to somebody else's advice or do what they think. You can listen and then you do your own thing. But if you think whatever somebody else suggested to you, it's good, you do it. Otherwise, you don't do it. You know,
be open, but still be discerning. Like I liked what you said earlier about you talked about how sometimes you would go to dances and you wouldn't dance with anybody. You would just go home and you were fine with that. You weren't just taking anything in life, whether it was a romantic relationship or work. Choosing where you were going to have your business. You did. Oh, it's like you really knew who you were. Do you think you always really knew who you were?
Yes. And I kind of always through my career, I had the people approach me to go and work for them, which first of all, there were times I was working for my brother. They didn't know, but they knew I was a hard worker, and I would show up at work in the morning. But they didn't know I was working for my brother, so I wouldn't leave my brother to go work for them. So either a few years back, I have my own business. People approached me to go. I could have gone to Square One or other big malls, but I turned it down. I don't want to be there until 9, 10 o'clock in the night. You know. And I'd be working for somebody else, partners. I would be the one or manage, but still I had to tell people, listen to people if I do it good or I do it bad. So I never, especially now, I'm not gonna either thinking about that. If they offer me a place in the big malls, I wouldn't want to go. I would rather be myself, work for myself, and do whatever I do. I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be working in some place I'm not happy.
For sure, there's freedom in knowing who you are, because I think if you don't know who you are, it's hard to turn down a good option, right?
That's right. Yeah, but you have to know it. it's a good option, but it's my health I'm thinking about too. Depends. There maybe 40 years ago I didn't mind doing risking it more, but I mean by the time the chance I wasn't there, so I never did it.
Yeah.
But being my own boss and work for myself, have a family. And actually, my wife and I, we all work together. And
I worked for you for a long time too.
Yeah, when you stop listening to me, you quit. That's the problem.
Because of my father, and don't get me wrong, like there were no handouts. Like he made sure that I learned, he made sure that I worked hard. But because of my father and the opportunities that he gave me, when I was 16 years old, still in high school, I had my own clientele. I was trained. I took courses on the weekends on how to do various aesthetic services. And I put myself through university, working in my father's business.
Still working, yeah. And I try to
through 2 degrees
have my kids work for me part-time, which right now nobody works for me.
Oh, sorry, Daddy.
And but my oldest one, which we lost, 12 years old, she was doing the cash. She was coming to work with me, and she was listening to me. She was first learner, and I wasn't lucky with her. She became an esthetician, but unfortunately, things went the way it went, and at least I did the best I could to see. At least they know if they like what I was doing or not. You know, and I wish them luck, and I hope they do much better than me. But one point, I think they're going to come back to my work.
You never know.
Somehow, I don't know why. I might make an offer they can refuse.
I'm going to share one more comment here. We've got from Nadine, enjoying the stories. So that's awesome. Thanks, Nadine. So I want to ask some very pointed questions. Okay. So I worked for you till I was about, I don't know exactly when I started, but I worked with you until about just after I was married. I think I was 26. And I managed to pay my own way through school. I went to school. I've started businesses over the years. I've had multiple businesses. Some have done really well. Some have done okay. But I haven't done what you did. I didn't stick with one thing. And I'm starting to discover a little bit about why that process has been that for me. But I wonder, like, what advice do you have for me? Because and I'm not you, but I am a hard worker and I am committed. But you did something when you were 13, started it on your own when you were 18. And you know, I haven't been able to replicate that. What advice do you have for me? Or what did I do wrong? You know?
Well, I think younger generation, I think they're not happy with one thing, they jump to another thing. They're not like that thing, they go to something else. If you can manage to pick something you really like to do and do it and stick to it, you're going to become the best at it. But if you keep changing jobs and while I'm like this, I do something else. By the time you learn that, and then you don't like, you waste another couple of more years. And you know, time going by, and you waste the time, and you still are not happy. So you have to be lucky, I guess, like me, I guess. Call myself lucky because I picked something I like to do.
Yeah.
And it worked out okay because me and my wife, like I said, we work together and we manage with a family. We always drove you guys to school, pick you up at school.
Yeah.
One of us was always available for anything. Like we were working together, but actually one of us was working, either me or my wife, because one of us was somewhere doing something for the kids, or go to soccer game or whatever. And sometimes we were able to both of us going. But consider, today to have 4 kids and do what I did, I wish I'm lucky.
It's
And
not
my
easy.
kids didn't suffer. They had everything.
We didn't have, I want to point out, we didn't have what our peers had. Like the kids that I went to school with had very different lives. And I'm not going to say that we lacked anything. We were very blessed, very lucky. We had everything we needed, but we most certainly didn't have what society suggested we should have. You really did create a life based on what you thought was right. And I don't think, I know that sometimes the way something looked to family mattered to you, but I don't think you made many decisions, maybe any decisions, based on what someone else wanted. I think it's incredible that you knew who you were so young.
Well, the kids are very important to me. Up to a certain age, you have to try to direct them the right way and the right direction, which you're proud of it, because it's like I said before, like having kids and send them here, send them there. They never see the parents, and we were there for you guys all the time, and we did the best we could to bring you to birthday parties and make sure you eat your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner. Somehow we were there.
Yeah.
After school, before school, and we still are there if you need us. Only for emergency.
Remember when you had to come help me get my car out of the impound?
I remember that. Yeah, and I was very, very upset. So you still are lucky you have your teeth, because I didn't forget about that. And
but you were there.
I hope those happen again, because
I think I'm good now. Now they have Uber.
No. It's. I wish you're lucky with your kids.
I fully agree. One thing that I'll say is, I think one of the things that made, like as you said, you were always there. I think one of the things that made it possible was that we did everything together. When you guys were cooking, we were cooking. If you were working and you weren't at home, then we were there with you, whether we were sitting there quietly or sweeping up or arranging magazines. If you were gardening, we gardened with you. And we did other things, like we would go to theme parks together and that kind of thing. But I honestly don't feel like anything that you did, you were like, oh, this is adult time, you're not taking part. And I know I do that. There are times where I say to my kids, mommy needs mommy time. But everything you guys did, you did with us.
That's right.
Which was really, really cool. I got to learn so much, but I also felt, I'm not going to say I felt like you guys were my friends, because I think you guys always made it very clear that you were my parents. But there was just something about the fact that we were a family, always, that was really, it really worked for me. It was a real blessing for me.
And you guys were lucky too to have it. My parents, you could go to after school or before school or whatever. And if they were not available for some reason, mom stayed home for lots of time too. But like I say, one of us was with you guys. There were a time once we were taking one girl, my oldest one, was going with a bus, a school bus was picking her up. And then you, Juliana, you were not allowed on the bus for some reason, because of the age or whatever.
And we were going to the same school?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I said, what's the point? Who are taking the bus? I have to pick one up. I'm going to pick the other one up.
Yeah.
So you always had it right. I didn't leave you stranded there.
No.
Without the right,
And I'll never forget, like, that I don't know how you did it, but you would drop us off for 9 and still pick us up at noon, drop us off at 1 and pick us up at 3:30. And we had lunch at home 95% of the time.
Because of the simple reason of working together with the mom and wasn't Well, we're still alive. We worked together for 40 years since we got married. But we managed to pick them up at school and drop them off. That's why.
He means they haven't killed each other yet.
Well, I think we're over that. I don't think we're gonna kill each other anymore. Anyway.
I have another comment here from Jen. We resist giving our daughter things or doing things because everyone else is doing it. We let our daughter work for things and wish for things. She had amazing character at just 12. I think having everything as a kid robs us of the opportunity to hope and wish and be grateful. So I think that's a really powerful point. Thank you, Jen, for sharing that. It really is. We need to have something to strive for.
That's right.
You know.
An example right now, I offer my grandson. I knew the answer was no. I said, "What about you come Sunday to my house and you help me out? I give you $25 a day." Which probably, if I would get an hour of work out of him, he still would make $25. But he turned it down. He wouldn't come. Yeah. Not free, and not if I pay him.
That's my son.
Yeah, that's how it is. That's the big difference from my kids and my grandchildren. You know, so I don't know which way is the best way. You know, I think the old-fashioned way, it's good. Was a little bit exaggerated, but was better than it is now. Now parents give too much to the kids. They got too much, and they don't appreciate. Yeah. Unfortunately, now maybe later on, but when they small, they expect too much because the other kids have or whatever reason. Yeah. And if your neighbor kid have a bike, then you have to buy a bike because he have a bike. But if you can't afford to buy a bike, what are you going to do? Well, it's going to be a war, you know? Yeah. But you have to offer your kids what you can afford. Yeah. What's possible. Don't give in that easy just because they cry and everything. Because I like to drive Ferrari too, but I can't. Either today, I can't. But
well, you could, but you would have to.
Yeah, but I don't need it to now.
No. but I guess my point is is the joy of this moment driving down the street in that car bigger than the security of 10, 20 years of financial security? It's a balancing act, right?
But now if instead of buy a Ferrari, you better buy a house these days, because you like to have a car, but it's the depreciation of the value of the vehicle or any toy you like, it's expensive. Doesn't worth it. When you're kind of 20, 25, you don't mind, Yeah. But at this point, I don't, you buy $100,000 car, in a couple of years, they're worth 50. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
The value is closing down.
They're not the same.
So much. It doesn't worth it. So that's how it goes. Eh?
Absolutely. I want to have a call out here to my friend Jess Donnelly. Casey says hi. Hello, Casey. Casey's one of my son's very awesome friends. And I also want to point out another really awesome comment that touched my heart. It's like we're in your living room. I really, really love that, because that's I think a great way of summing up who we are as a family. We don't put on airs. I think we have some smarts to us, but that's not how we define ourselves. We are people, and we love learning from people and talking to people and connecting. So thank you so much for saying that.
We always listen other, and then we do what we like.
We do what we like. We listen, but at least we listen, Yeah.
So. But if it's good, we might steal a tip from you guys, and we won't tell you. I won't.
No credit.
No. So I do my own thing, and I say I did it.
Okay, so I think, and I'm more than happy to continue this if there are other things you want to share. But I think I have one more question, and it is about the fact that you don't have to work anymore, and you're still working. Your brother, who passed away recently, unfortunately, my uncle, he worked until I think it was like a couple
3 months ago.
3 months before he passed away. or 2 months before he passed away, something like that.
Yes, about 3 months he worked, but he only did a few customers, which he'd been doing the hair for 50 years. So we were kind of, they grew old together, and he was just going do the hair going home. There wasn't no real job. He just was there to pass time, you know. But yeah, I don't have to work. It depends how you look at it. I don't have to work, but I love my job. I have a lot of friends come to see me, and I don't have that pressure. I have to pay rent because I own my own building, and I go there and I have friends visiting me. I have a nice espresso machine, and we have an espresso with a nice, a little bit of sambuca, and we could be going all day. Next thing you know, we're ready to go home for dinner. And if I have to do something, I'll go out and do it or whatever. I'm a kind of part-time, full-time.
Yeah.
But if you make an appointment, I'll be there.
And that's an invitation, right?
That's it.
Anybody who's looking for an awesome hairdresser, I have to say, my dad and my mom tag teamed my hair for my wedding. And anybody who will remember the movie My Fair Lady, there's a scene where she goes into a hall, an event, and she's trying to be passed off as a princess. And I wanted my hair done like that, not because of the princess thing, but because the hair was just exceptional. And yeah, you guys did an incredible job. I have to share some pictures.
We had to do it right, or we were dead. That day she was the boss.
I was pretty.
We kind of say yes to everything. She said, you know, bride, you don't want them to cry, right? So that day was her day, and we kind of listened to it. And me and my wife, we kind of, no, now she's gonna tell us what to do today. And was okay. Tonight okay.
Yeah.
She liked the hair. She had a good day, and everybody loved it. Her hairdo and her dress and her beautiful day with all the guests.
Yeah, it was an awesome day. It had both tradition, but it also had some modern parts. And it was, I think, a great combination of everything that we are as a family and my husband's family is. And we had a good time. I have some awesome pictures of the dancing.
Actually, I told my wife, I don't know if it was yesterday, today, or 2 days ago, I would do it again, I said to her.
You would do what again?
Start over again. I would marry her again.
Oh, that is so cute.
So I shouldn't say that too loud. It's supposed to be a secret.
Said it in front
supposed to be a secret,
people.
But I said it. Anyway, and I'm proud of what I did and what I succeed. And it's not a big thing, but making me happy and making my family happy, I hope. And the rest, I don't mind.
Yeah.
So,
you know, if I can summarize, I think my greatest takeaway, I think for a lot of my life, I have either been trying to prove something, and I don't think I'm going to shake that anytime soon. I'm probably trying to prove something to myself. I set very high goals, but definitely I'm often trying to prove something. I often have something I'm trying to achieve. And again, that focus on the goal. But what I'm hearing a lot from you is enjoy every day. You know, you stay.
Well, you have to.
Yeah.
If you enjoy what you're doing or with your life, you kind of, you're gonna give up and whatever happened happen. So enjoy what you're doing and hope for the best.
And I actually think, Bob, this entire thing that we're doing right now evolved for me out of the fact that I've tried a bunch of different things. I have lots of great ideas that I want to share with people, and I love meeting people. I've tried blogging regularly. I've tried, you know, a lot of social media stuff. But the truth is, I love this. I love talking with people. And there are some awesome people out there that I've had conversations with recently who are on the schedule for this program. And my life is literally enriched from having a 15-minute conversation with this new person that I've learned from. So this is a labor of love because I literally enjoy doing it. And I think I made work for myself for a lot of time because I knew I could do something. Just because you can do something is not a good enough reason to do it. You really should enjoy the process. Life is short.
That's right. Yeah. That's why you like to talk.
I
You
do.
like what you're doing.
Yeah.
But at some point, I think you're going to take over my business.
Here
Your
we go.
sisters, I don't think they're capable, but
Well, they're
I don't
capable.
know why, but
No, they're capable. But I
but
think I worked
there
there.
is a but.
Yeah, well, I think I worked there the longest, ultimately.
Yeah, and you were the best worker, really, for me.
Aw.
So, well, hopefully you take it over and you tell me what to do when I'm there, if I'm there.
So maybe what we'll do is we'll have live streams from our hair salon, and we'll have Vincenzo here be on every episode.
Yeah, no, not everyone. I'm gonna start the charge, and I don't know if you can afford me. Especially if the casino opens, I won't be around.
So I think the last lesson from my awesome father is know your worth and don't do anything for free unless you're learning from it, right?
That's it. Yeah, but it's nothing. Well, for my kids, I don't mind, but don't count on me every week. No way. For a glass of wine, it's fine.
For a glass of wine anytime. Salute a tutti. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you,
for
everyone.
all of the comments.
And thank you, Papa. I'm gonna drink because it's bad. I don't know, manners to cheers without drinking. So
I think you should drink more than me, by the way.
I did. I had at least 3 glasses. But the wonderful thing about this very European style wine glass is it's much smaller than the North American style. I could have poured a heck of a lot more. And these are easier to wash. They go in the dishwasher, which is
You have
great.
to make up for the husband. The husband doesn't drink. He drinks water.
He made this. He drinks.
He made it, but he doesn't drink it.
Not enough.
So it's okay. You keep it like that. It's
Yeah.
better.
More for me.
That's it.
Now I got to get him making sausage because I burned through the sausage we made in about 6 months. So I need him involved. We can double production.
Yeah, if he agree. He doesn't agree, he's the guy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because he knows who he is.
But now he got lots of time to himself. He should learn and try to do it.
Well, I think we should go and talk to him about that.
Yeah, maybe.
Right now.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's enough for tonight. Or?
Yeah, I think we did well. So, Papa, thank you. I love you very
You're
much.
welcome.
I know we show each other all the time, but we don't always say it.
I love you too.
Grazie.
Especially when you listen to me. You don't listen to me, well, we're going to think about it.
Conditional love.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want that? All right. Thank you,
Thank
everyone
you.
who gave us your love and attention tonight. We really appreciate
Good night,
it.
everybody.
Have a great one.
Thank you
Cheers
for
to
the
y'all.
company.
Mhm.
Ciao.
Ciao.